know what your after the game agenda is. Um, but I know AI is also getting pretty good. But there's a picture of you strolling down strolling down the elbow room. I guess good, near A1A. Looks like your car. Looks like you. Looks like your watch. Is that AI or is that real?
Well, that's why I like the good old days, the throwbacks of yore where you could trust, the internet and the images because, it is pretty detailed. That I do live in that area, but I mean, AI, right?
So that doesn't answer the question.
Well, I mean,
So are you confirming or denying?
I mean, I live in that area. AI is real. That's what I got for you.
Okay.
One of the things that stood out to me about the game was that.
No, for the record, I did not answer it. That's the punchline of the humor.
One of the things that stood out to me about the defense, I felt like every time Josh Allen broke out the pocket, he got put on his ass. Bradley Chubb was very intent about just getting him on the ground. I'm curious, what does that do for a quarterback, knowing at the back of your head, like, okay, if I break this pocket, I might get hands put on me. But then also, what do you think that did for the defense yesterday?
Well, I think there's a supreme level of discipline that you're talking where you're disciplined in your back end and your coverage, rush lanes to get them to escape the pocket in a non-threatening fashion, and then it's a fine line that you play. They had the desire to affect the passer by tackling him within the rules, but you can't let that desire. You can't wish it into existence and do it in situations where you're 2 steps away from the quarterback and then you're going to get a penalty. So I thought it was good disciplined football, and when you're able to get the best player on the team to be affected by the way that you're playing, I think you generally have good results. So I think that it was vitally important, considering that he's a guy that if you don't affect, he will affect the outcome of the game drastically.
Mike, some injury updates if you can. Austin Jackson, James Daniels, Jason Sanders, Liam Eichenberg, are any going to start practicing this week?
So I'll have a firm answer on Wednesday. Right now, between the logistics of coaching through the film from this morning and then traveling to another country, it's kind of I don't really have an exact picture. We're all traveling, and there is a chance that somebody does, but we'll see if that someone does.
Mike, after the game, Patrick, Paul, you want to follow up?
Chop Robinson, do you have any idea whether he'll be able to play this week?
I think it was a very close call. I just thought it was too. I wasn't comfortable with him just getting the clearance necessary, and I thought he really, really wanted to play. And when you're dealing with those types of injuries, it was best we were fully certain that we could have not just this game but the following games taken care of, expecting them against the Commanders.
So after the game, Patrick Paul said that the post-game locker room was, quote, unquote, crazy. And we saw the video.
Mm-hmm.
What did you observe from that whole scene, the blowing off of steam, the laundry bin races, if you want to call it that, and Prince's little breakdance?
Yeah.
What did you observe from that whole thing?
Yeah, I think that was an earned celebration. I think you saw a team that was exuberant based upon the execution of something that they knew they held the belief that they could do entirely themselves. There's a lot of empowering features to that, and I think they were celebrating the win in laundry bins or trash cans, whatever you want to call them, but they were celebrating together, three different phase players all exuberant about the same thing. I think they also recognized that they captured what they had been working towards in terms of a style of play for the entire football team. So the main thing for us is that it wasn't just the opponent. It was much more about ourselves, and we've been working and had numerous occasions where we felt like we were close and we fell short to being able to play a complete three-phase complementary football game, and I think they were pretty excited to crack the formula, and wanted to get all the celebration out yesterday, because we are firmly Commanders today moving forward.
Coach, going back to Isaiah's question about the pass rush, I'm curious on the back end of the coverage to get your take on what you saw on film, because I think I saw a stat that it was Allen's longest time to throw in a couple of years that he's had, and there wasn't a lot of blitzing from the defense as well. So with a bunch of young guys, Marshall playing on the outside for the first time, Trader getting a bunch of reps, Juju Brent's getting some run. I'm curious what you saw in the zone distribution and then plastering after he got off schedule.
Yeah, it was. It took empty the tank type of effort. I think there was a lot of good rush lane integrity, very disciplined pass rush, where he was stepping up and then out through. That was kind of an orchestrated rush plan. I think the back end disguises were the top level that we'd executed, which was, I think affecting his decision-making and his progression. That, generally all offenses have timing elements to it with predetermined reads. And when you start going to reads too fast, sometimes, there was like one play jumps off a -4 completion, tackle for loss by Jack Jones. And that was he'd gone through his progression. That was his last player in his progression. That the disguise kind of threw him off timing, and that allows people to be in position for a check down. And those types of executions, I think, it was calculated in what we're doing. I thought, led by Coach Weaver, the plan was, and really all the entire defensive coaching staff, their plan was very tight. It was very purposeful, and then the players made it come to life in a real way. You can tell the scheme is now theirs, and when you play football with a scheme that you own, 11 people can play with conviction, and that's all we were looking for that game. That's what I thought we had throughout the 4 quarters.
Mike, after the Atlanta game, you obviously didn't get the result that you wanted the next game. How do you make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, I thought that we really established a tempo to our work week that we found successful in that Atlanta prep. And then we had things fall short in the next game. So the whole focus this past week was taking what we'd learned from our prep for Atlanta and applying it to Buffalo, exclusively us and how we do things. So this will give us another chance to replicate that on the heels of trying to replicate that in the first place. Basically, you're trying to stack these games, and we know what's at stake. There's 2 very different outcomes that we've experienced in the last 2 weeks. So my confidence is as high as it's ever been in the guys um, really answering the bell for the type of preparation we have to have. The challenge this week is you have the international component, and is that an extra opponent for you, or is that something null and void to the equation because you've established the way that you non-negotiably want to prepare, address, and execute a football game, and so we'll be very focused on making sure that everything is exclusively Commanders related, which is whatever opponent's next, you have to do that in this league, or you're going to get humbled.
And I want to ask about Jaylen Waddle. What's something that he does better now at this point in his career versus when you first got here?
There's when you're, I think he's executing as an elite one receiver. To do that, you have to be not only capable of separating against man coverage and giving reason to be a primary in zone, but you have to be very connected to the timing of plays in critical situations. So his route running versus man coverage on third down, whether he gets the ball or not, he's running routes to win that is what you expect from a big time receiver. But there's a different level of there's different levels of receiver play, and I think when you are connected with your physical capabilities, but you're locked in and always getting open when the quarterback's ready to throw. Now you're case in point, his target to completion ratio is super high, and when he's not getting the ball, he's separating and giving the opponent cause for concern because they're out at the football game too, and even if he doesn't get the ball, they're like, we can't cover that. We need to make ourselves light somewhere else, which opens the opportunity for the post safety was very, very focused on Jaylen Waddle when Greg had that 22-yard gain, things like that. So receivers, he was way down the field on that play because he's consistently getting releases, which is threatening the defense and affecting plays when he doesn't have the ball.
A few more go ahead.
Just having played an international game a couple years ago, just what did you learn from that experience as far as preparation, the approach, and can you lean on that experience?
Yeah, there was we very much did in the preparation for this trip. There was things that I thought we nailed, and there's things that you can learn from. The biggest thing is that getting the team prepared for the unique portions of the trip. It's not, I like getting the guys out there and not and on their player day off being able to to take advantage of the opportunity to play abroad, but to do so kind of like it's like going somewhere for training camp. You get to do something that encourages team bonding, and you get another rep at doing things that people have never done together, but then focusing throughout the week. There's a lot more media asked. There's a lot more. It's just a change in tempo, and like I said before, we've recently found what we feel like is our formula to prepare for a game, and making sure that formula isn't compromised by location and alterations in schedule, much of which are, there's just attacking all the things that are unique, and making sure those, just because they're unique, they don't affect our style of play on the following Sunday. So it was very helpful having a trip, and this not being the first time for us to do this, and I'm looking forward to it.
A few more injury questions. D.S. Grits, Julian Hill, Ashton Davis, and Russell Douglas. Just where are they?
Feeling great about where they were progressing. They were pretty close, so I'm very optimistic for all of them. Very optimistic for all of them next week.
And then quick follow-up. When you have a player that goes out there and plays as well as Juju Brents does, how does that affect the depth chart?
Well, when players take advantage of the opportunity, they generally get more opportunities. And specifically with him, I thought, not having a training camp and being a late addition, that he's done a phenomenal job understanding what we're asking. And I think he put on, a display of why he was here. And really, he showed his evolution within the system so that he could be a tool and a resource for us. So I think he's earned more time on the field. How that shapes out has to do with him and all the other guys. But anytime you have a guy step up, it helps the whole team because you just got better at the position regardless. Whether he's if he's not on the field, it's because somebody's playing very well, or he's on the field because of the plays that he was capable of making.
Mike, a question about your youth on the team. By my calculation, 15 of the 47 players who played yesterday were third year or younger. And 7 of the 8 2025 draftees played, everybody except Quinn Ewers. What have you learned about the young players this season? What did you learn specifically yesterday about the young players?
They, to quote Denny Green, they are who I thought they were. In terms of the internal fortitude of what it takes to, progress your game in the National Football League. Okay, you've had, I think each player's had their moment where they've felt the weight of, failure and the desire for production, and having to maintain confidence while growing is the toughest code to crack in the National Football League. But what I think you're starting to see is, why we had such strong faith in their ability to do a challenging but real opportunity, which is have realistic, real playing time as a rookie. I think it's what we were counting on. I think all the guys are past their rookie season in our mind for expectation, and I think they agree. And we're moving forward with football players that are learning how to play together and learning the standard with which you have to be prepared to execute your assignment on every play.
Mike, Devon Achane obviously was very good from the first day that he stepped on the field for the Dolphins, but what have you seen him do that much better this year, and in particular yesterday?
So I think he's a gifted athlete that has learned how to challenge himself and really change his standard for an expectation for play. I think going into that game, this past game, we tried to make very clear that this is we were going against a high strain, high effort collective, that if we could get a lot of guys covered up and we could get Devon one-on-one in space, that, the game plan was to kind of do that and let him, make plays on one player without pursuit. And I think he really rose to the challenge. He, he had a different level of focus, and he put a bigger burden on his own shoulders to execute and make guys miss in critical moments. And I think he's also learned how to get a lot of leaky yardage, as I'd call it, a lot of post-contact 2 to 3 yards on edges of defenders which drastically affects the next play call, the next third down distance, and I think he's doing a great job getting his game to a spot that the team needs, and is extremely confident making even more plays, and he's always been a playmaker. So I like where his game's at, and he's still hungry for more, and so we'll hopefully get more.